All right, so we're back, and pop culture is an interesting thing. Popular culture, we call it pop music, those kinds of things, just means popular music. So the pop music of my time is different than the pop music of your time, which is quite natural. So Japanese pop culture is really cool. I think, anyways. And I'm not talking about like modern times culture. I'm talking more about ancient times pop culture, because they did some really cool things. And I'm just going to pull up a couple of things quickly so you guys can see some of those. Actually, I'll put them onto the classroom. I'll put videos on. You guys can watch some of those things. But again, architecture super cool. Kabuki theater. This is a very, very, very popular form of art in Japanese culture. Actually, here's a really fun one. They banned females, so guys had to play all the roles. We already talked about that during the Renaissance time period too. That was not uncommon. These kabuki actors, though, again, technically, they are living outside of the norms and roles that fit Japanese culture. So they technically are non-humans, but they again filled a important role, which is entertainment. Banraku theater. This is like really, really, really cool puppet theater. I'm going to put a video of this up. It is it's very interesting. The artistry that goes into running the puppets and all that sort of stuff, I find very interesting. I realize that it's not for everyone, but there'll be a video. I love the black backdrop and the whole thing. It's kind of fun. Geishas, again, these are, okay, just to be clear, these are not prostitutes. And I realize that some parents are going to be finding out that I said that word on a video, but that's something that's the rumor around geishas. But they were not that. They were rather women that were trained specifically in the art of like conversation and just making the man that. Okay, this is where people get it kind of turned around. Is they were absolutely paid for their services. Their services were not sexual in nature, but rather they were there to provide witty conversation and the tea ceremony and those kinds of things for the patrons. They're, the guys that are paying them to do that. So if the men were going to a party, they might not bring their wife, but rather they may hire a geisha to be able to come, and the man who could bring the best, most entertaining, best conversationalist, they would end up gaining favor inside of society. I realize this all seems very weird with us, but that was their job. Their job was to create an opportunity for the men to just enjoy themselves. Woodblock images. If you guys look at these pictures, the picture on the front of the textbook of the big wave, all those things are woodblock printing, and is a very interesting piece of Japanese history. I'll put up a short video as well on woodblock printing. You don't have to watch all these videos all the way through, but you might scan through them quickly and see some of the way that things are made. They're fairly interesting. Here's another woodblock printing. So they would carve out the figures, roll ink onto them, and then press them against the paper. So books, again, Christianity, very, very unpopular because the Bakufu saw them as a possible alternative to the power struggles. Books were printed in Japan. The printing press actually, of course, began in China, and though it eventually found its way to the Renaissance Europe, it was originally in China. And so doing these kinds of things, printing of books and that sort of stuff, would be very early on accessible to the Japanese. Literature grows over time. And, every one of you guys, well, I shouldn't say every one of you guys. I remember being in junior high and we had to write haikus in LA. And I was not a language arts kid. Don't know if you believe that about me, but I find these interesting now, the simplicity of them and there's a certain just everyday quality about them that I really enjoy. So, like the bee staggers out of the peony is very pretty and very, it's very visually captivating. I realize that those are words, but when you see the haiku, you are able to picture what the person is talking about. And so I really enjoy it. And I love the idea of Basho Matsu going town to town and having like little contests about who can write the best haikus. Again, this one here, awake at night, the lamp low, oil freezing. When I see that, I can't help but picture, like I've been camping on cold nights, and I know the sense of being in your tent and, being able to see your breath coming out as you have your flashlight in your tent. And those are things that the haiku is actually kind of made for. I don't understand this one. The sea darkening, the wild duck's call is faintly white. It doesn't make any sense to me, but it's just super cool. So we are drawing to the end here. This one here is talking about the change in the role of the samurai. It's fairly interesting. Now we are going to run into one last little thing. Okay, same time, different thing, or same place, same time, different places. This one here, this is the beginning of the end for this period of peace. So this right here is the outside influences beginning to have some impact. Again, I told you guys that Portuguese were kicked out, but the Dutch, because the Dutch were solely interested in trade, they had no interest in bringing religion with them. They were allowed to stay in the port at Ryukyu. They were allowed to stay in the port, Nagasaki and Deshima, and they were bringing in just small amounts of influence, books from Europe and those kinds of things, and those samurai that I was talking about earlier, and even the later shogun, they were beginning to read books from the outside world and beginning to be just slightly influenced, like changes in the way that they do some practices like medicine and those kinds of things change over time. So this section here is really kind of the beginning of the end for the Japanese seclusion policy. But there are some good things about coming out of seclusion as well. So that is the end of chapter 4, and we will get you guys a test coming up soon and some other stuff coming up for you. In the next section, I'm going to release you guys the stuff on the essay that I'm going to have you guys write, where you're going to have to make a decision about whether or not isolation was a good decision or a bad decision. And we'll put that out for you guys here soon. So have a great time. Have a great week. I'll see you later.